Hedley knows my brain doesn't work after about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, yet he constantly puts me up at the end of the day. So I'll be as quick as I can because I know people want to get home. Plutonic, we're an exploration company, as Hedley said. I think our main focus is not necessarily finding ore bodies, but finding huge ore bodies that we call hypergiants. So something that are up to an order of magnitude larger than anything that's been discovered before. And I think our champion project's looking as if that could be the one that takes us to that point. So champion, in case you don't know, is a large low sulfidation epithermal or slash porphyry system. It's what's called a telescope porphyry epithermal system in the Northern Territory. It's 6,500 square kilometres, I guess, with a central core of about 3,200 square kilometres. So that 3,200 square kilometres is where we have outcropping mineralised veins, which makes it the largest epithermal system in the world and possibly the largest single porphyry epithermal telescope system in the world. These things are more common, I guess, in the Andes, Philippines and Indonesia than they are in Australia. So typically a slightly different type of porphyry sort of system to what we see in the Macquarie Arc in New South Wales. I'll come back to that one shortly. At Georgetown, we've just finished a 5-hole program where we did not find the intrusion-loaded gold systems we were looking for, but instead we found another supergiant porphyry epithermal system. So that one's about 100 square kilometres, so a lot smaller than Champion, but still the second largest unexplored porphyry epithermal system in Australia. So these are big systems. We're very pleased that we're getting there. What else are we doing? We've just been granted a new project, which is a rare earth project in North Queensland. We haven't started doing any work yet, but after the wet season we'll get on there, and we'll continue to do project and target generation just so we can make sure that if projects fail, we stick ahead of where we need to be. I'll chuck the next slide up, which is the same map that was up there last year. Nothing's changed, other than we've done a lot more geochemistry in this Asgard North area that we put out about a week ago. Lots of gold and copper numbers over a 6x4 kilometre area. So these are big, again, outcropping low sulfidation epithermal quartz veins. They've been overprinted, so you've had a porphyry system that's overprinted, introduced copper into the system. I think Hedley's got a bit of the rock, an example right in front of him. If you want to pass that around, Hedley, people can have a look. So I guess what I want to talk about today more than anything was just our scale and just focusing on how we explore. So we've been at a Champion for 4 years. We haven't drilled a hole yet. Hopefully in April we'll kick off on these 4 highlighted prospects: Redonculus, Loki North, I'm Not a Vampire Vein, and Perseverance. So we're just awaiting cultural heritage clearances. But it's just hard. It's hard to really describe the scale. I mean, this is cool. There's a scale bar down the bottom, 5 kilometres, but this is like the size of Greater Melbourne from east to west, from the Dandenongs out to Geelong, just about. So huge area. It's a little bit the size of all these guys ground put together, just about. But that's okay. But the difference too is that everywhere we go there are outcropping quartz veins. It's not like it's moose pasture and there's a vein in the middle or a system. The whole thing's chock full of continuous sort of mineralised veins and stuff like that. So it's certainly the type of project that requires a well thought out strategy. I mean, we could go out, just drill anything, and you might hit something, you might not, but we want to make sure that out here, when we get the first holes in, they're meaningful. They either generate a discovery or they give us the information we need to target them properly. So 6,500 square kilometres where you've got all of the same stuff everywhere. It takes a long time to get a portfolio together to drill. But there's enough here to keep going for 40 years if we need to. But, again, I don't know. Did you have a question you want to ask me, Hedley?
You hold the bat, although after that last little swipe, I think Kris is the one bowling the bounces here. I don't know how you'll feel about this one. Kris, the scale is evident. So I'm going to take you on a bit of a sideways here, and I'm not sure, some of these folks might even know you from LinkedIn, where you've really built the presence of this company, and I think spread the word. It's an early stage company, and for that reason we're looking, I think, for signs of things over a broad area, and that's what you've been delivering. You put a story on LinkedIn about Lassiter's Reef. Now, first point about this is I thought we'd agreed not to run with sort of romancy trash, but anyway, it's out there now. But that leads to my question. How does this possibly relate to Lassiter's Reef and that silly old story? Do you want to give us 2 minutes on that?
All right, Lassiter's Reef is a big quartz reef. You can't see it really well, but it extends from up here down to here. So it's about 11 kilometres. And in-house, we do use our own measurement system, which is the circumference of Hedley's head, which I believe is 59 centimetres. So what we consider Lassiter's Reef is 19,655.17 Hedleys, which is the unit of measurement. And it's pretty wide too. But some of the epithermal bands, the mineralised bands, they're now iron oxides because they've been oxidised, but they're about 0.35 Hedleys, which is pretty thick. That's, Damien's got some nice, beautiful, low sulfidation veins. They're about that big, and ours are about that big. So, Lassiter's Reef, for those who don't know, fabled story of Lassiter trotting off into the desert, claiming to have found a big quartz vein, had gold glittering in the sun and all this sort of stuff, which is about 7 or 8 miles, I think, in length. So that sort of matches the size of what we see here. Sands, partially obscured by sands. I mean, every time we go out there, half the reef's gone because the sands are moving constantly. But some parts are quite big. So the vein itself, it's 11, 12 kilometres long, up to 70 metres high. That's one big quartz vein, and up to 50 or 60 metres across in some parts. But it's been known as Lassiter's by the locals for almost 100 years, since the time of the second expedition, which I think was 1930. So it's well known locally. It is in a very remote area that barely anyone's been out to look for, and we're fairly confident that it is Lassiter. It fits all the descriptions. Is it meaningful to us? No, not really. It's a nice story, but it does have gold and copper in it. So, in fact, I think it's been caught on camera, someone pulling out visible gold in the past from that reef. So it sort of makes sense. It's a nice story, but again, I'm not a vampire. Reef's like 60 kilometres long anyway, and it's full of beautiful textures and stuff. So, yeah, we have, I guess, Georgetown being the second largest, most prolific potential in Australia for massive discoveries, and this is significantly larger. And that's all I want to say. We're big. And Hedley wanted me to put up this really weird slide, wherever it went. So this is a quote from Hedley. I just want to leave this with you, because, that's what we're doing. We're looking for these major systems. We don't care about going to production. That's not our problem. That's someone else going to do that down the track. We just don't care. Don't care much for bringing in a major because they're generally slow and useless. So we just want to make discoveries, and then as we do them, we can spin them out.